Hi and welcome to this video on Destiny 2. This video is going to be one in a long series of me covering different builds I really enjoy. This build is a build I came up with. If other people have made it, I didn't see anything on it. This is something I made up myself. Uh, if you know anything about the meta, and I do air quotations there because meta in this game isn't really a thing, and I'll show you why. Uh, Meta in this game is not a thing because people want to take this game as Call of Duty, where highest damage is the best damage, where not everything is based around damage or survivability. There's so many other things you could be doing to help out your general team. This build is my best build for that general help out team. I do not have good healing on this build, and that's about it actually. The reason why I don't have good healing is because okay, I'm gonna go scroll over it. If you haven't watched this type of stuff, I don't know how you got this video. But I do hope that you can understand this. You can look up each thing if you want to know more about it. But there's a lot about this general there's a lot about Destiny build crafting that I do not want to go into for this build or for this video. But the reason why I have Skyburners, actually I should go to Skyburners first. Excuse me, I had a burp, even though you didn't hear me. The reason why I have Skyburners is because Scorch, that specific thing of being able to apply Scorch on a hipfire shot without having to rev it up or anything, allows the first part about that no one really ever uses. And that part makes this build what it is. Okay, how this build functions, this fragment is not needed. This is just resilience, because having under 50 resilience, in my opinion, you're just kind of dying a whole lot. I'm still dying a whole lot, but that's because I don't have regeneration. Because I have constant ignitions, I have constant stuns, constant AoE, and because of the fragments here, I have constant ignition after ignition after ignition, while getting back my melee if that ignition, or not that ignition, if that knife kills them. Some enemies, even if that knife kills them, I still get that ignition, and with speed, I can do a whole lot of shit with this build. The reason why I have Ophidius Spaith is because without the 2 knives per 1 dodge, I will not be able to have an infinite cycle. And I do mean infinite cycle. This does not require any seasonal mods, and that is going to be something about every single video in this series, is none of these builds rely on seasonal artifact at all. This build can actually be in higher end content. I don't really have a good higher end content to just play by myself, so I am going to go to the Lost Sector. Chester and I like going to show off, or not show off, testing higher end builds, and it's a good place to show off higher end builds. It is the Lost Sector you're going to see me go to. The reason why we go here is because it's decently ad dense, and it's just a good Lost Sector. If you did not know, and a good way to test out builds, like a general uptime on builds and like peak perfection of uptime on builds, which allows you to see how much you can do with peak uptime, like going through strikes, gambit, different things like that, helps out. Go through the Cosmodrome Lost Sector, and the Lost Sector we're going to is this one, since I'm at the map. That's the Lost Sector we're going to. The Lost Sector that I suggest if you actually want to get into build crafting, or if you're just into build crafting and want to test out what I said, go to this one, because that one also it's very ad dense, but it gives you at the end of the or at the end of the thing in that chest, maximum heavy ammo guaranteed. So it's also very good if you're wanting to do a heavy catalyst. I hope that never gets changed, because that is just fucking beautiful. I do hope that other Lost Sectors, like one Lost Sector somewhere else, gives guaranteed max special or something like that to give more testing grounds for different things. And speaking of testing grounds, I know this is a bit of a side thing, but the what's it called? The firing range in the Enclave. The firing range in the Enclave really is, it is a firing range which is very nice. What they should do with the firing range in general is bring back, I forget what it's called, but the thing in the Leviathan where it's your own personal place you can go to. You have to build it up and make it better and better and better, but it had a fuck ton of holograms, which had each enemy type besides Taken and Scorn, because Taken is its own cosmic entity and Scorn never existed or didn't exist at the time, but every other enemy type was in it, ranking from its basic bitch, like Thrail, all the way up to Ogre Boss. And you could shoot them, you could do the crit damage, you can even apply things like 1-2 punch you can do by punching one of the things and getting it off, and the distances allowed you to have actual testing for snipers, scout rifles, different things like that for damage values. It was beautiful. They literally should just bring that back, but the perfected version, like when it was fully built for everyone, not fully built for everyone, but when somebody fully built it should be that, just copy and paste it. They don't have to do anything special. And because of they would have to kind of do something, but they could do it in that same place for the Enclave. Just put it there. I don't know how they would do it lore-wise, or hell, just off the top of my head, because Eris Morn, the Duality Dungeon, is in that area. Technically, I believe it's in that. It looks like that same area with the Duality Dungeon. It could be Eris Morn has a portal you go through in that firing range, and you instantly teleport there after she's cleaned it all up and made it perfected. Or not perfected, but cleaned it all up and just made it all nice and shiny. Which will allow people to fully test builds and just general things in the place you would want them to test general thing. Because like damage values, just everything about gun crafting. And gun crafting in this game is fucking beautiful. And that's part of the reason why the meta isn't a thing and why people shouldn't take this game as Call of Duty, because guns can do so many other things besides just damage. Like, for an example, there is a perk now called Slice that on activating your class ability, you apply Sever, which Sever is like, I want to say 40% damage reduction from the enemy, where they do 40% less damage to you when they got it applied to them. I want to say 40, I don't know if it is 40. But that's still an amazing, just instant, you can't do as much damage, and in higher end shit, that's even better, because you might be able to survive 2 hits, 3 hits, instead of 1 or 2. Because higher end shit in this game, you don't survive. And higher end shit as in PvE specifically. PvP, it's a different thing entirely. This build can also be very good for PvP because of the constant ignitions and general uptime of abilities. I just personally do not feel comfortable enough taking it into PvP. And you'll see why it's very good in PvP as well right now. And the only thing about this build that I do not... It's not that I don't like it, it's just not really something... Every other build I have has a name. Every other build. No matter what build it is, it has some sort of name that generally has, or not generally, it has one word to describe the general build. Like HOD, Health on Demand, even though it's not technically one word, but it's Health on Demand. Different things like that, describing the general build. This build, I don't have a name for. But I think it doesn't really need one, because I'm never taking it off of my Hunter because of this general build style and how this works. Because you only need to press 2 buttons to instantly cause an ignition. Which is fucking crazy. I never plan to take this off of my Hunter as well, because I never plan to play my Hunter unless I really need to for like exotic and stuff like that. The only problem with it is I don't have good healing, which is why it's a good help out your friends build, but not a really good solo build. But not every build is meant to do everything. You can build to do everything, but it's not really... It doesn't help you do... More precise builds allows you to have more precise fun, more precise things that you're going to be doing. Which, in some cases, can be really fun, and in, like, higher-end content, can really, really help out your team. Like, this is constant ad clear, and, like, higher-end shit, that is just amazing to instantly be able to cause ignition, because this combo might not be able to... Or you might not be able to kill a red bar in higher-end content very easily. Because I cause an ignition with that, it's an insta-kill to just about anything. I have not taken this into like GMs and shit, and I don't really do GMs often. I think I've only done like a GM actually. I don't know how well this would work, but judging by everything I've seen for this build and everything I've taken this into, it will be fucking phenomenal. The only problem is this is one of the only builds where you would actually have to use the exact same setup. The only things that you wouldn't have to take, like the only things you wouldn't have to have the exact same is the general stat layout. My stats are always shit. Even on my Titan, that's the one I main, my stats are still shit. But something amazing about this build that is just in Radiant in general is the anti-barrier aspect. Anti-barrier allows you to shoot through any shield, not just the barrier champion shields, which makes it absolutely fucking beautiful. Which is why you just saw me run up and blast a bitch with a shotgun, even though he had his shield out. Like this bitch. Boom. Instantly killed him. Oh, fuck. That was getting punched and somehow not getting flung. I tried to shoot first, it did not let me. Fuck. Well, and now you get to see how fast class ability region is just with the fragments alone. Alright, the specific thing about the fragment is you have to apply Scorch. It's not keeping the Scorch going, it's applying the Scorch. So if you have a big crowd, try your best to get everyone scorched. Also, because when you cause the ignition, it gets rid of that Scorch instantly, you can constantly do that over and over again on a boss. So it's not that bad, but when you have nothing to really do the combo on constantly, you do want to do that area of effect. And don't forget Skyburners is also a scout rifle. The versatility of Skyburners is fucking amazing. And I love Skyburners before it had the ability to scorch on hipfire, because it's just a grenade launcher scout rifle. I've always kind of liked scout rifles. I thought I had my melee there. If I did, I would have ignited that bitch, stunned that bitch, and ignited the bitch that was scorched, stunned the other gladiator, and then would have been able to survive that. Just to be more specific. And the best part about this build, to be completely honest, is that there is no red. There is no, I need orbs to do blink. I only need orbs to get my abilities back and heal. That's it. There is no, like, getting orbs to make ammo for myself or anything like that. Shit. I forgot to take an Omni yesterday. Sorry about that. I hope that was not audible, because I did mute. I don't know if I muted in time, though, because that was a burp. Because of the amount of damage you can do, and the okay. While you're doing everything, you're constantly giving yourself damage increase for your other weapons. So the actual boss damage, you'll see, but it's very straightforward and very fun, to be completely honest. Oh shit. And I should actually talk about that when we get there. Also, on your mark, make Skyburners amazing because of that reload you just saw. You basically don't have a reload. Shit, I thought that was gonna hit him. Boom. Because of the seasonal artifact, I will be applying Weaken on the boss, so I will be doing more damage, but only by 15%. And I know it is a lot, technically. But it's still very, very good regardless. Like, because of what you just saw. And then I have another volley I can do again if I really need to. Because it's an infinite cycle of just fuck you. Which is fucking amazing! I thought he was in front of me, not behind me. But, at least, okay. This build is fucking crazy. Because of the shit you just saw. And I know this is not like GM, like that's not like super impressive, but the fact that I had my abilities constantly, that I could have gone again and again and again. And the thing that makes this build even better is both of my weapons have auto-loading holster, which allows me to constantly do my thing. Which is why I personally think reloading is stupid. TDT, or at least one of the main voice actor, or the only voice actor for TDT. If you haven't watched TDT and you like Destiny stuff, I highly suggest watching TDT. They are an amazing YouTube channel, and I say they because there's a lot of people that work in the TDT channel, do a lot of stuff for it. The voice actor that does the Drifter, a pretty good Drifter impression. Two ghosts, I think it's Archibald and Reginald. I hope I'm pronouncing those right, and I think I'm saying those right. I always forget their names. Those all are amazing voices and amazing characters that they have a lot that are meant to make their information a lot better. A lot better than my videos, to be completely honest, because I don't have that. I cannot edit that much on PlayStation. When I get a PC, I will edit a fuck ton, because every video is going to be a lot better than what I am doing now. I can't do a whole lot. I can't do a whole lot because I can't finagle recordings. I can't overlap things. I can't do a whole lot of things. Like when I get a PC, I'm also going to have Unreal Engine 5, and I'm going to use that to make animations for my videos. I'm going to do a whole lot of shit for my videos. I am going to do a whole lot of shit with Unreal Engine. That is going to be the backbone of a lot of my shit, actually. But with all that said, I hope you actually do really try this build out. This build is fucking crazy, and
even the nutrient slurry is too, once you get used to it.
And I hope you really try this build out because it's fucking crazy. I do think that you can make this build a hell of a lot better because my stats are pretty shit. It's pretty interesting to have all of them kind of even. Like, that's unique to at least my builds. At least for my builds, that's kind of unique. Sorry, I had to burp again. Like I said, I didn't have an omniprozole. I have bad acid reflux. Don't know how I forgot to take an omniprozole, but I did. These videos are going to be a lot shorter than my typical video because there's not a lot of shit I can show off. Especially for this one. This one, I wanted to take into the coil, but I haven't even gotten to that part for my hunter. And while getting to that part, I realized that this build is not going to work because I don't have enough healing. And the reason I cannot put a lot of more healing onto this build, because this build does not work if you take off any of that. That fluid, that instant, basically, that guaranteed cycle will not work unless you have this specific setup. Bomber, all of that included with those. Anything else, it will not work. You don't need necessarily the chest or the boots or that, because orbs are handy. They're going to give you back the abilities faster. But that specific loop, you need the bomber distribution and that. And I say bomber distribution because you're getting back your grenade back a hell of a lot faster, so you can be able to heal a lot faster with the impact induction, so you can heal while doing that over and over and over again, even though it's going to be a little bit for that healing grenade. It's still very handy while you're running gunning with friends to be able to, while you're doing boss damage with this build, because the ignitions alone will be pretty good boss damage. It's not the greatest, like you're going to want to do the heavy in there a little bit here and there, but it's still very good if you only have your primary. Which will allow you to do healing grenades when you're running gunning, like any dungeon ever, actually. With all that said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I will catch y'all in the next